How's it going, guys? Coach Weston here with Good Lift Performance. Today, I'm gonna go over my full day of eating, kind of show you what I eat on my normal training days, and kind of go over some other nutritional tips for powerlifting along the way that I think can really help you guys. I know we've been getting a lot of questions on like nutrition stuff for powerlifting, so I'm gonna try to cover a lot of that in this video, as well as show you kind of the what I actually eat. So stay tuned. All right, so right now my goals are I know I'm going to stay in the 100 kilo class. My weight right now is like 95 kilos ish. And so technically I have some weight to gain, but I'm also kind of fluffy right now. So I would really like to recomp a little bit before going up. So especially after the holidays, I gained a little bit of extra weight that I didn't intend to. So right now I'm just trying to get back on track with tracking and get into that good habit again before trying to go into like a deficit or anything like that. So my macros right now are like 200 protein, 205 protein, like 270 carb, and 90 fat. I think for powerlifting, it's good to have like a well-balanced macro split. If you go too low in fat, you just don't feel very good. It like messes with your like hormones and stuff like that. I'm not a nutrition coach, so you can take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. But I think especially for performance athletes, you want to have a good balance of everything, and you want to make sure that you're getting a good balanced diet in terms of like what you're intaking. You don't want to just stick to very limited stuff. So try to get a good blend of a good balance of macros and a good balance of food overall in terms of like what you're picking. So yeah. So guys, I'll show you what I'm gonna have for breakfast. It right now is like 9 o'clock. I actually get up at 5 a.m., but I don't eat breakfast till 9, mostly because I get up before my son gets up. So I have about 2.5, 3 hours before he gets up to knock out some work and get the day going. And then I eat my meals whenever he eats his meals. So he gets up at 8 and then eats at around 9-ish. So that's when I usually eat breakfast. That's the only reason why I have that delay there. So an important caveat here is that I'm not like a great cook, right? Even though my wife is a foods teacher and you think that would have like rubbed off on me, I'm very bland with how I make my food. I'm very just straightforward. Like, so you'll see I'm making scrambled eggs here. I don't add any milk. I don't do anything special with it. I just cook it till it's done. I've never been a very picky eater. I kind of I'm very easy to please when it comes to food. So yeah, you won't be surprised or like impressed by any of the food I make. It's pretty bland and kind of just straightforward, but it gets the job done. So see, I have 3 scrambled eggs here with 1 ounce of Colby Jack cheese. So I make that first, and then I'm gonna come over here to the pantry, which is an absolute mess right now, but we're gonna grab our bread somewhere. Here we go. So while the cheese is melting, I make my bread. So here we just have some basic whole grain, whole wheat bread, 100% whole wheat bread. Once again, I'm pretty basic with this stuff. So I usually go 2 slices here. So we'll put that in the toaster while the cheese is melting. So by the time the bread is done, the cheese will be melted and it'll be good to go. So that's kind of part 1 of my breakfast. So phase 2 of breakfast is this fat-free yogurt with fruit. I have about 100 grams of strawberries in here and about 50 grams of blueberries. Yeah, we got some Greek yogurt with some fruit, 3 eggs, ounce of cheese, and then 2 pieces of toast. So that gives me a really good base of protein, carbs, and fat for the day. I think it ends up being around like 50 something protein, like 55, around like 50 to 60 grams of carbs, and about 25, 30 grams of fat, something like that. I'll post the actual macros up on the screen, but yeah, it's a really good start to the day. Get some fruit, get some dairy, some calcium in there for you. It's a good whole balanced meal for the day. So I have this at around 9 o'clock, and then I will check in with you guys next meal. All right, so now I'm gonna answer some questions that I got on Instagram. I put up a poll for you guys on my story, and you guys asked a couple good questions, so I'm gonna answer some of those for you. So the first one, does meal timing matter for powerlifting? So this question kind of comes from the Eric Helms nutritional pyramid, where total calories is the bottom, and it goes macronutrients, micronutrients, timing, frequency, and then supplements at the very top, right? And so meal timing and frequency is kind of right there in the middle. And I would say for powerlifting that the only meal timing that really matters is going to be the pre-workout meal, because you want to make sure you have good fuel going into the session. And I'll caveat that by saying, really, you need to have, your nutrition needs to be solid for 24/7 in terms of the 24 hours prior to the workout, to make sure you have good fuel in your body, because really when you're working out, you're using a lot of stored nutrients. What you're eating now isn't going to be directly used as much. What that does is it increases your blood sugar levels, which can help with brain function, right? But you want to have solid nutrition just around the clock, and just in terms of 24 hours prior. So let's say you train on a Monday and you just eat like dog shit on Sunday, you're probably going to have a bad session, or not as great of a session on Monday, versus if you stuck to your diet and had a good day of eating on Sunday, you're probably going to have a much better day on Monday. So I would say that when it comes to food, that you have, it's more about what you've been eating on a bigger scale, versus hydration is very, very acute. So hydration is really important for right before the workout, making sure you're hydrated. But in terms of pre-workout meal, you want to make sure that you're eating something that can help spike your blood sugar before you train, or help keep your blood sugar stable. Training on an empty stomach, some people like that. I don't generally recommend that. It doesn't keep you feeling full. I think a really big component of especially if you're squatting, is having that feeling full, feeling filled out in your belt, so you can feel really stable under the bar. And if you have an empty stomach under the bar, you might feel very hollow and not very strong. So I think having a pre-workout meal is really important. So depending on how far away you can eat the meal or not, is going to depend on what you should eat. So, a sweet spot for most people is going to be 1 to 2 hours before the session. You want to eat some low fiber carbohydrates, because you don't want the fiber really slowing down your digestion. You want to try to get your fiber in your other meals besides your pre-workout meal. So fiber, lower fiber carbohydrates, like rice is a great one. That's my go-to for recommending people. You also want to have a good amount of sodium. Sodium is going to be great for muscle contractions. So either hot sauce, soy sauce, anything like that that's high in sodium is also going to be great. I would say low to moderate fat. You don't want a super high fat meal. And so something and you'll see in my example, I do chicken, avocado, rice, and hot sauce. I do a little bit of avocado for just a little bit of fat, just to help keep me full and satiated. Because if I eat just protein and carbs, it's going to, for me, kind of runs through me, and I'd feel hungry again pretty quickly. So I like a little bit of fat in there. Got some lean protein, lots of carbs, and lots of sodium to help with hydration and electrolytes. So that's kind of so that's if you can eat far away. Let's say you work out first thing in the morning and you really just have to get up and go, I think it's still important to have a pre-workout meal. So maybe something like a banana, a couple bananas, so that's something that's easy to digest, quick go, and a protein shake. A lot of times for my lifters who they train first thing in the morning, I recommend do that post-workout shake before your session with those post-workout carbs, but do it beforehand, because that will give you that little spike you need to go in and train and feel good. So that's what I recommend there. You can do a protein shake. You can even do Gatorade powder. If you do vanilla protein and orange Gatorade powder, that's a orange dreamsicle. I've done that before when I've had to train first thing in the morning. It's really good. You can also do a banana. Cereal is another good one, just depending on how much time you have. So if you have 30, 45 minutes between when you eat and when you have to go train, I would recommend more fast digesting, simpler carbs, and almost no fat, just because you're not gonna have a lot of time to digest that fat. And that's really, once again, just to get your blood sugar elevated. It helps with brain function. Also, a little bit of protein in there is important, or useful, I should say, because Protein, when you eat protein, it can help with serotonin release, so it makes you happy. And if you're going into a session happy, you're generally going to do better. So protein is good in that scenario. So yeah, protein and carbs. And then if you're if you're really close, fast protein, fast carbs. If you're further away, you can do some slower digesting carbs, sodium, stuff like that. If you're in the example when you're training really close, you might just want to add more of like electrolyte packet to your pre-workout. That's also a really good one, because who wants to have soy sauce or hot sauce first thing in the morning, right? There's not a lot of great, really high sodium options that aren't also high fat. So just putting that in your pre-workout can also be really useful too. How much protein do you need as a powerlifter? So this, once again, I'm not a nutrition coach, so take this with a grain of salt. You really only need about 1 gram per pound of body weight, unless you are on the heavier weight class side. You could probably get away with less. You could do like 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. That's a generally good recommendation. But if you eat, so like let's say you're trying to maintain your weight, right? And you have X amount of calories you can eat. If you go like with a really high protein diet, like more than 1 gram per pound of body weight, you're taking away grams that could be used for carbohydrates or fat and putting in protein. And protein past the like that threshold of what you need to recover doesn't do extra. And so you're just kind of wasting what could be used for more carbohydrates and more fat, which could allow you to A, have better workouts, B, more energy, and it could allow you to have more flexibility in your diet, so you could fit in more like fun foods, or just be able to like eat out easier and stuff like that. When you're just maintaining, you really don't need, like, it's probably, if you're just kind of maintaining your weight, you can keep your protein like at that 1 gram per pound of body weight. I've also seen people talk about like 1.2 grams. It's on like the higher end. You don't really need to go above 1.2. Like if you go to 1.5, that's a lot. I know. So like if you're cutting, you generally need more protein to help with maintaining the muscle on your frame. But if you are maintaining or bulking, you generally need you can just stick around that 1 gram per pound, or I've seen people even go a little bit less, just because you're not going to be in that catabolic state, so you don't need as much protein. But I think like 1 gram per pound is just an easy number that everyone can hit, and that's super easy to do. But then once again, if you're like on the heavier side, like let's say you're like 275, like you probably don't need to eat 275 grams of protein. You could probably get away with like 250 or even like 240, something like that. Just because like at that point you have more fat mass, and so you don't need to count that into your total body weight, right? You could just do lean body mass. So somewhere in that ballpark of 1 gram to 1.2 is a good range for most people. And then the last one, what app do I use to track? So I've been using MacroFactor app. It's a subscription-based app with an AI coaching software in it that will give you recommendations. I've just been using that because it helps me, knowing that I have to do like a check-in at the end of the week for nutrition, helps me stay a little bit more on track versus just using a blank tracker like MyFitnessPal or My Macros Plus, something like that. So I like having that check-in at the end of the week. I haven't actually done a cut on it or a bulk, but I've heard really good things about it, that it is a pretty good AI. I've used like the Carbon Diet app before, and it was like when you do a cut on that, it's really aggressive. And so I've heard my macro factor is, in terms of like the weekly adjustments, is a lot better. So I haven't actually done a cut once again, so I'm going to try that. But even just when I was doing like maintaining, it has very small adjustments depending on if I'm gaining weight or stuff like that. So I've been really liking it so far. And I recommend it to all of my nutrition all my clients if they have questions about nutrition. I should also point out I do not have an affiliate with MacroFactor, so I was not paid to say that in any way, shape, or form. They do not know I exist. So that was not a paid ad read, but I do recommend it because I do truly like it. So moving on to lunch now. This is technically like my pre-workout meal. Just with my schedule, this doesn't actually end up being like a true pre-workout meal, because I technically have one more meal before this and my workout, but it's really, really small because it's right before my session. So this is really like my big fuel for my session. So right now it is 1 p.m. And so I won't train until about like 6 p.m. tonight. And so yeah, there's about 5 hours between now and when I train. So I'll eat this meal now, and then I'll have a pre-workout meal around like 5 o'clock, 5:30ish, or more like, yeah, around like 5 o'clock. And then I'll show you that one, but I'll show you what I'm doing now. Realistically, you'd want to have this meal. Sorry, you can hear Theo in the background. You'd want to have this meal closer to the session, but just because of my schedule, this is how I have to do it, because I can't have a solid meal that much closer. So you just got to roll with the punches and do the best you can. is ready. So we have this meal here, which kind of looks a little interesting, but it is delicious. It is 5 ounces of chicken, a cup and a half of rice, half an avocado, and a lot of hot sauce. Mix it all together. So as you guys saw, and when I talked about like pre-workout meal, this is like a really good one where you have a lot of carbs. That's low fiber, easy to digest food. You have a little bit of fat with the avocado plus flavor. Got some good protein in there. So carbs ends up being like 80 to 90 carbs, something like that. So it is a good amount. Another big pro tip is that you want to try to have like 25% of your total carbohydrates before your session and another 25% of your carbohydrates after your session. So like around 50% of your carbs around your workout. So because carbs are really important both for fuel and for recovery. So try to have, wow, the lighting's actually really bad over here. Let me go here. So you want to have your carbs around your workout as much as you can, so that it gives you good performance. And if you're low on carbohydrates, like say you're dieting, you might actually want to increase those numbers and really just pool your carbohydrates to around your workout. So we just got to the gym. It is 4:36, about to have my next meal. It's more of just like a snack. And so this guy was what I was talking about earlier with my meal timing not being as optimal. So technically I had what I would normally like to have as my pre-workout meal at like 1:30, and then I don't get to train until about 6 because I have a in-person session from about 5 to 6 tonight. So because mostly what I do is online. I do still do a little bit of in-person now and again, but mostly is online. So yeah, just one person today from 5 to 6. And so what I do is I have a snack here before the session starts. So that's going to be the protein shake here. Got 2 scoops of whey in there, which is each of them were 25 grams protein. It's about 50 grams of protein there, like 7 carbs, 5 fats, something like that. And then I also have a banana. So I'll have that. It's about 25, 28 grams of carbs, something like that. And that will be my pre-workout meal, quote unquote. So I'll have that. And then during my session, about halfway through the session, when about 30 minutes out, I'll start sipping on my pre-workout. And so then that gives that about 30 minutes to kick in. And then after the session's done, then I go and do my training session. And so this is a really good point that I kind of made earlier so one, my opinion on post-workout shakes is that sorry, my arm's getting tired here. For post-workout protein shakes, no, they aren't necessarily magical in terms of recovery, but they're really convenient and a way to get protein in. Like they are per serving the cheapest form of protein you can get, so it's very cost effective, and it's really easy just to down one right after your workout, and it helps kind of buffer that how much protein you need in the day. And so it's really easy and convenient way to get in. So I'm a really big fan of it. I always recommend all my athletes use protein because it's just an easy way to get in free protein, it feels like. And so, but for athletes who have to train first thing in the morning or need a quick snack right before the session, maybe they like have kind of what I have where you can't have a full meal close enough to the session, but you can do like you can have like a snack like this. That's where I'd recommend, all right, take that post-workout shake and just make it a pre-workout shake, because yeah, as long as you're getting the protein in, then you're good to go at the end of the day. So that's what I do, and that's what I recommend for athletes who have to like get up first thing in the morning and then go train. I have this have my pre-workout at 5:30. I go train at 6, and then I go home directly after training and make my last meal of the day, which is dinner. So I will catch you guys for that meal. All right, so this is dinner take 2. I initially recorded this on the same day that I recorded all my other videos, but I didn't realize there was no audio recording. So we're re-recording this actually more towards the end of the week, because then I ran out of pasta, so I had to remake pasta, and it was a whole bunch of things. But we're here now, so I'm going to show you what my dinner that night would have looked like. So I already have it prepared. It is some pasta. I got a cup and a half of pasta here, 5 ounces of chicken thigh, and then 1 serving of pasta sauce. So that's my normal dinner. Lots of carbs, a little bit of fat. I like to have like a heavier dinner, especially after training, especially because I train at night. So I kind of having like a heavier dinner really kind of helps like get me into that like sleepy mode, you know, and that especially after training, when I train later, it definitely helps me kind of calm down and get to sleep a little earlier. Yeah, so I kind of have a big starchy, carby dinner to help calm me down. And so the big point I wanted to make on this segment was talking about should you rotate your macros on training days and non-training days. So for those of you who maybe don't track macros, there is a very common strategy out there of you would eat more on your training days because you're burning more calories, right? And then you eat less on your non-training days because you're burning less calories. So this is a good diet strategy if we're trying to lose weight. But in terms of if we're just trying to gain strength, we're either maintaining or we're bulking. I would prefer to have athletes just kind of have the same macros every single day. It makes it easier to track. You don't have to change from day to day. And also your body still is using those calories to recover. It's not like you're not doing anything. And so I think you won't really see a difference in your body weight changing macros or keeping your macros the same from day to day. It's not that big of a difference because you are still using all that energy to recover from the previous training day. So I don't think that you need to change your macros from training days to non-training days, as well as even during a deload, we're taking that whole week of easier training. I don't think you need to reduce your calories there either because you're still recovering and you're almost in a recovery deficit where you need to come out of that. So if you deprive yourself of calories because it's easier work or it's less work, then you're depriving yourself of the recovery resources your body needs during that really important recovery week. So I don't think you should be reducing calories when you are in recovery days or weeks just because you're doing less work. Your body still needs those calories to recover. So just if we're just maintaining or maybe in a slight surplus, I would just keep your macros the same every day because it's not going to make that big of a difference in your body weight. You won't notice that much of a difference. And it's just easier and it gives your body the calories it needs to get stronger. You'll probably notice that you'll get stronger because you're giving yourself more calories on average to recover. So yeah, that is my full day of eating. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want me to do more of this stuff, let me know. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys next time. Make sure to subscribe. If you like the video, make sure to hit a like on the video and talk to you guys next time. Peace.